What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. I have so much news to cover for you in Pokemon Go related to Deoxys as an EX raid boss. Secondly, talking about Beldum as a potential Community Day Pokemon. And then the third and final thing to talk about is a little bit of information in regards to Kecleon, which is an unreleased Pokemon in Pokemon Go. We have a lot to cover, but I'm also going to talk about some strategies related to Deoxys and how I think it's going to end up working. So hopefully you do enjoy it, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So briefly, I wanted to go ahead and talk about Beldum as a Community Day Pokemon first. So there ended up being some images found in the network traffic showing that Beldum could have been the Community Day Pokemon. Now, if the background seems familiar to you, that's going to be because it was the exact same background as Eevee. So does that mean that it was the original intention to be the August Community Day? Honestly, we're not sure, but either way, this is going to be very exciting because if we take a look at Metagross's shiny form, it looks insane. But even beyond that, if you were to take a look at Metagross's stats, it honestly is a super good Pokemon, definitely a pseudo-legendary in so many ways. But along with this could come the move Meteor Mash. If that happens, that is easily going to be the best Steel-type move added into Pokemon Go, and that is going to make Metagross an absolute monster. Unfortunately for Steel-type Pokemon currently in the game, there isn't that great of a move, and so if something like this were to get added in, the DPS would be so high, a lot of people would kind of opt to use Metagross from the Steel typing, which is going to be absolutely insane to have in the game. So other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the Deoxys situation. So it all began once Apple users started getting a push notification to their phones saying that Deoxys would be added in as an EX raid boss. And of course, a lot of people were very skeptical about this, but they started popping up left and right, and a lot of people were able to report this. Well, then the next day, Android users started getting the exact same push notification. So I'm not sure who at Niantic was the person who scheduled it at the wrong time. They're probably going to get in trouble for this because this is going to be a big deal. This wasn't initially meant to be released, in my opinion. I do think that this was going to be a mistake. But with the new EX Raid passes coming out, it's very possible that the next EX Raid is going to be a Deoxys. It may be a couple more after that, but it is very possible. So if you do get an EX Raid, I would kind of half expect it to be a Deoxys. So what should we talk about with Deoxys? We actually already have these stats added into the game, so unfortunately as far as like the moveset goes, it's not going to be like that great of a moveset. But if you want to know a little bit more about Deoxys, there are going to be 4 forms available. You've got the normal form, speed form, defense form, and attack form. The shiny sprites have been added into the network traffic as well, so as you can see on the screen, you'll be able to see what all the sprites look like. So if we go ahead and take a look at some of the stats for Deoxys, it's kind of a weird one because honestly, the big redeeming factor is going to be its attack stat. At 345, that puts it 45 above Mewtwo. But at the same time, you're seeing a very low stamina, a very low defense, and extremely low defense and stamina. So you might be wondering, well, this is going to be such a glass cannon, it's probably not going to end up being worth it, to be honest. Well, there's actually going to be 2 redeeming factors for Deoxys. The first one, we are going to be able to get a double Psychic type moveset. It's going to be kind of bad because Psycho Boost isn't going to be that great of a move, but regardless, since there is such a high attack stat, there is going to be, kind of like a chance that it could end up actually being decent. So as far as which form would be the best, well, as you can see, because of the stats like we talked about earlier, I would honestly argue that the defense Deoxys could actually be the best performer because it is still going to have a high attack stat, but at least this way it gets buffed up in the stat that is the lowest on its 3 stats. For me personally, that's what I'm thinking is going to be the best option. But as far as how are we going to be able to get this, that is going to be something that only time can tell. Maybe you will just battle against Deoxys in its normal form, and then when you go to the catch screen, it would just be different versions of it. That would be probably the easiest thing to do. I know a lot of people would love to go against different forms of Deoxys, but I'm just not sure if Niantic would do that. So the last thing that we need to talk about is going to be Kecleon. So Kecleon actually had a couple of updates added in recently into kind of like the gaming code, talking about a couple of different things. Unfortunately, we're not going to see anything related to the color change. We did see some moves added in, which is going to be pretty interesting. This is a Pokemon that's currently not in the game. It does have a special ability, which probably kind of made it, not on the top of the list of being put into the game. Something like Smeargle is another example of a Pokemon, but there's definitely some updates. A hitbox updated. It's so close to being put into the game, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it soon. So I actually want to go ahead and end on a question of the day, and that is going to be, what are you most excited about? Is it going to be having Beldum as a Community Day Pokemon? Is it going to have Deoxys as the new EX Raid boss? Go ahead and let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave.